Hello again, everybody. Zagatak is here at my UFC 169 review for Super Saturday, February 1st, 2014. I am back on my computer again. I'm on my computer again. I got a new computer now in my room, using my webcam again, as you can tell by the better sound and video quality. Now, my thoughts on this pay-per-view kind of echoed the Royal Rumble. Now, for those of you who don't watch wrestling and watch these reviews, I review wrestling stuff as well. I'm a wrestling fan, UFC. Yes, wrestling may be fake, but hey, I love it. But I made my Royal Rumble review, and there was 5 matches on the Rumble card, as well as this fight card. The first fight on the Rumble card was great, and the rest of the pay-per-view went down from there. Well, that's what this pay-per-view was tonight. The first fight was the best fight of the night, and then gradually the card was not good after the first fight. Second fight was okay. Third fight, a beatdown. Fourth fight, what I call a fight not to lose fight. Fifth, in the main event fight, kind of a controversial ending in some people's eyes. Ended maybe way too early. My rating for this pay-per-view is like rating for my Royal Rumble review 5.0. Just because there was only one great match, and the rest were just okay. I didn't see the prelims like I did for the UFC on Fox. The UFC on Fox main card was not that good either. That's why I feel like the last 2 UFC cards were just not good. Like last week's fight card had one great moment, the rest was just okay. On the better main event. And then this card, one great fight, the rest was just clunkers. That's how I feel. And it's a Super Saturday. So, there you go. On with the first and the best fight of the night for me in the main card. Jamie Varner against Abel Trujillo. Probably candidate for fight of the night, and maybe not gonna night because of the ending of this fight. Because it was a very exciting fight. Because Abel Trujillo pulled a dramatic comeback in this fight. Because the first round, like when it comes to striking, in that first round, they were evenly matched on striking. The entire fight they were evenly striking, they were like evenly matched because they were like swinging for the fences, really good striking, very good stand up. The takedown in the first round belonged to Jamie Varner. I think Abel was trying to take down Jamie until Jamie countered it and had that nasty side choke on Abel in that first round. And I thought it was over then because I thought Abel looked like he was going to pass out from that choke, but then Abel got back up and tried to fight back at the end of the first round. And Abel got beat down again in the second round. It looked like Abel was going to lose again. He was up against a cage, and he was not. I thought it was going to be a TKO. He was getting pummeled by Jamie Varner. And that is when the comeback comes in for Abel Trujillo. Not only do I think this fight should have been fight tonight, but also should have been KO tonight because of the way Abel came back after getting pummeled by Jamie Varner. Got back up. Bam! One punch knockout. Great knockout for Abel Trujillo. Great comeback with a great knockout. Wow, that was a great first fight. 3.5. Oh, not 3. Maybe 3.3. 3.3 out of 5. Just because of the way the fight ended. Abel Trujillo just getting his ass beat in the first round. Almost getting knocked out in the second round. Like, you know what I mean? Abel almost got submitted in the first round. Almost got knocked down in the second round. Came back with a killer knockout in the second round after getting pummeled by Jamie Varner. It looked like he was going to lose again. So, great comeback from Abel Trujillo. Great comeback. Great fight. That was the only great fight of the night. The rest of the card from that point on, slowly but gradually, kind of went down. Our second fight. By the way, the first fight was in a lightweight division. So, Volvo gets some. Abel Trujillo could be a good contender for the lightweight championship, of course, currently held by Mr. Anthony Pettis. So if Abel gets some more good wins, Abel could be. He looked decent tonight. Great comeback. And Jamie Varner is a former champion. WC needs to come back strong, may get cut after this loss tonight if he keeps on losing. But still, great comeback from Abel. I see potential in him maybe advancing further into the title picture eventually someday. But like I said, on to the next fight, flyweight division, where the card started slowly, gradually declining after that great first fight. John Lineker, former contender for the flyweight championship against the reigning champion that division, Mighty Mouse, more than Demetrius Johnson, taking on. I need to pronounce it right. I apologize for any mispronunciation of his last name here. Ali Bagautinov. Hope I pronounced his name right. In the second fight, it was better than the remaining 2 fights out of the last 4 fights. this was the better of the last four, if you can call any of the last four fights any good. Because it was just okay action. Like, it was decent action, decent striking, decent submission stuff. And Ali just was the aggressor this entire fight. He just beat down Lineker. Lineker tried his best to try to fight back, but Ali just took him down. It felt like watching a GSP fight. Every round, Ali just took him down because I think Lineker was more of a striker, and Ali's more of a submission guy. So Ali was trying to take down Lineker to avoid getting knocked out. So it was an okay fight, uneventful, especially after that great first fight with that great comeback. So it's kind of like a not good fight to come back from, that great first fight. 2.0 for this fight with the Ali win over unanimous decision. The rest of the next 3 out of 4 fights went all 3 rounds. For the first championship match's sake, 5 rounds. So there you go. Ali won the fight. It was just okay. It's a decent action, but not exciting. Not as exciting as the first one. Now on to our next fight. Heavyweight showdown against former Strikeforce champion ALDO. Overeem. Haven't seen him in a while. He got suspended last 1 or 2 years ago. Taking on Frank Mir. Frank Mir, I've seen him, former UFC heavyweight champion. Last time I saw Mir like chubby and fat. He looked very trim tonight. Now Frank and ALDO have a lot in common. Now get this weird, unique fact. Both guys have beaten Brock Lesnar. But get this unique fact. Frank Mir beat Brock Lesnar in Brock's first match in UFC. ALDO Overeem beat Brock Lesnar in Lesnar's last fight in UFC before going back to WWE. So it's kind of a unique fact right there that both these guys have beat Lesnar. Mir beating Lesnar in his debut, and ALDO beating Lesnar in his last fight in UFC. And like Lesnar, I think Frank should have known that facing ALDO Overeem is just like facing with Brock Lesnar. You're gonna get your ass beat. Boy, oh boy, Overeem annihilate the fuck out of Frank Mir. It was just a beatdown match. Like I said, it was like watching the second match against Lesnar and Mir. Because Mir and Lesnar faced off twice. The first time Mir submitted Lesnar, that was of course Mir's win over Lesnar was Lesnar's debut, but Lesnar got a rematch in UFC 100 in 2009. He just beat the fuck out of Frank Mir, and that's what it was tonight. And I'll give Mir credit for surviving, because I thought after Overeem was beating the shit out of him that first round, I thought it was going to be a 1 round. I thought Mir wasn't going to survive that first round. But Mir not only survived 1 round, he survived 3. And Mir did try a submission on him at one point. He was trying to put that surprise submission like he did to Lesnar the first time they fought, but it didn't work on Overeem. But Overeem was like, fuck that, man, I'm not going to get submitted. And just Overeem just pounded Mir. Mir was bloodied up, a lot of cuts to the head, a lot of knees and elbows. Frank just got his ass beat. It was like in my opinion, Frank Mir people should have thrown the towel because they were just delaying the inevitable. Alistair couldn't finish Mir. That's the point. Mir just kept on hanging on. Alistair couldn't finish. He used all of his energy in that first round just pummeling on Mir. He didn't have energy to end it. In the second or third round, he didn't have time to finish it. So he just hung on a string being Mir as Alistair just kept teeing off the next 2 rounds because he couldn't finish them. And that's what happened. Unanimous decision, Alistair Overeem. 2.0 out of 5 for that fight as well. Just because, it was just a fucking beatdown match. Frank Mir tried his best to, I'll give Mir credit for surviving. That's what Mir should be awarded for. Mir should be awarded for surviving this fight. Because the second time he faced Lesnar, we got that terrible beatdown from Lesnar 5 years ago. I think it lasted like 2 or 3, at least 2 rounds. And I think it was like TKO victory for Lesnar the second time they faced. But tonight, like I said, it ran all 3 rounds, and just Alistair Overeem was just dominant tonight, just beating the shit out of Frank Mir tonight. It was just a fucking beatdown tonight. So there you go. Alistair Overeem, a decent performance, but just unexciting just because he just pummeled Frank Mir the entire fight. Like what happened when Lesnar faced Mir the second time. Now, with our co-main event, Jose Aldo defending the flyweight championship against Ricardo Lamas. Now, if you've seen my UFC reviews, you notice that I use a phrase sometimes when I describe some fights. I describe some fights, like this fight, as a fight not to lose fight. And if you know what my definition of a fight not to lose fight is, two guys who just dance around for 5 minutes and do nothing because they don't want to lose money. Or as I call them, Anderson Silva fights. That's what I feel about Anderson Silva fights. If you also see my UFC reviews, I've also bitched about Anderson Silva because he was such a pussy until he broke his foot. I have a newfound respect for him, even though he injured himself. Anywho, this fight was just uneventful. It was just fight not to lose. But in this fight, in championship fights, and Silva's done this as well. Like doesn't matter who the champion is. If the challenger does not come at you immediately, like if you're not like Chael Sonnen or Johnny Hendricks, who take it to the champion immediately, the champion's gonna win because the challenger's not aggressive. Because in this case, Ricardo Lamas is a decent fighter. He did try to fight, but Ricardo Lamas, his game plan in my mind was to try to beat up Jose Aldo and just try to capitalize if Aldo made a mistake. Aldo's an elusive fighter. He doesn't make mistakes. So that game plan went out the fucking window. And Ricardo wasn't aggressive. He didn't take it to the champion. Like Johnny Hendricks' fight against GSP. Hendricks beat the living crap out of GSP. And in many people's minds, should be the UFC welterweight champion. He will get a chance in a couple months when he takes on Robbie Lawler for the forfeited title, since GSP forfeited it after getting by Hendricks, and kind of a controversial call for so many people in that great fight back in November. But still, this fight tonight, Ricardo Lamas did not aggressively go at the champion. He tried his best. He didn't come in like a house of fire. He didn't take it to the champion. The champion just pounded on him, just took him down. It's just an uneventful fight. And Aldo retained unanimous decision in the 5th round just because, like I said, it was a fight not to lose fight. Especially for Aldo. It's like, in this case, fight not to lose, because I think they're like, don't beat me up too bad. I don't want to watch a Super Bowl in the hospital. So maybe one of that cases. Because Super Saturday pay-per-views have been hit and miss. Remember a couple years back, I think it was like 1 or 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. Nick Diaz against, and this is a good segue for the main event here. By the way, 2.0 for the Aldo Ricardo Lamas match. It's just uneventful match. Just since Lamas didn't go wide at the champion, Aldo did like Silva, just pranced around, just wrestled around and do nothing for 5 minutes. For 25 minutes, should I say. But it was a good segue for a main event, because I was talking about past Super Saturday pay-per-views. Because remember, my first Super Saturday pay-per-view review was 2 years ago against, the main event was Nate Diaz against Carlos Condit for the UFC Interim Bantamweight Championship. Not Bantamweight, Welterweight Championship. It was kind of a controversial match because Condit won. Because Condit had a game plan. A lot of people bitch about it because Diaz was more the aggressor. But Condit had a game plan, and Condit won. That game plan was kind of a controversial call for some people. Speaking of controversial calls, on a Super Saturday pay-per-view, on a main event for the UFC Bantamweight Championship. And speaking of titles being forfeited, as I mentioned, GSP forfeited the Welterweight Championship. The Bantamweight Championship was forfeited. The main event tonight was supposed to be Dominic Cruz defending his Bantamweight Championship against interim Bantamweight Champion Renan Barao. But Dominic Cruz got injured and forfeited the title. So tonight, the main event was the rematch from the interim championship match, as Barao defended against the guy he defeated to win the interim championship in the first place, the California kid, URIJAH FABER. Now, this fight had the closest potential to being good, because this fight was a very exciting fight from the get-go. Very good striking. URIJAH FABER had some great hits, but this Barao guy is very strong. He almost had Faber down like at least once before the initial decision. That was kind of a controversial call. He had him down once early on in the fight. He just pummeled on Faber. I thought it was done. The first time Faber was down by Barao. This Barao guy, I haven't seen Barao before, because I've seen URIJAH FABER before, because I haven't seen much UFCs because I DJ on Saturdays. So it's the first UFC pay-per-view I'm able to see full length, because I didn't DJ tonight. So I've seen Faber a few times, but I haven't seen Barao, and this Barao guy is very tough, and he's a brute from him being down Faber. And Faber came back strong, and this fight sure had some potential to be good. You know, of all the remaining 4 fights, this fight had the biggest potential of being a good fight until the ending in the first round. Kind of a controversial call. Because, like I said, Faber was down once before by Burrell. Burrell had him down again. He took him down again. And he was just pummeling on him. You know, grounding, pounding Faber. And Faber's hand was on his head. And so Burrell was on top of him. Faber had his hand on his head. And Burrell was just pounding Faber's hand, basically blocking his head. And he kept looking at Herb Dean, the referee, was like, come on, Herb, count it. You know, stop it. And Herb stopped the fight. But Faber got back up. It's kind of like in some people's minds, a controversial call. The fight should have continued. Because I think many people thought Herb was standing him up. Maybe that's what people thought. Because Burrell was just pounding on Faber. I think many people thought, and maybe I thought, that they were going to stand him up. But then the fight was called. And Burrell won. He retained the championship in the TKO. Kind of a controversial call. You know, I think he made the wrong call, in my opinion. And Herb Dean's not new to this. I think Herb Dean has made some questionable calls before. Like I said, I haven't seen every UFC preview because I've been busy, but I've heard many times before that Herb Dean has made some questionable decisions. This was one of them. You know, I think the match should have went on. Because like I said, the match showed potential of being a good fight after 3 kind of lackluster matches. After that great first fight. Keep mentioning that great first fight between VARNER and TRUJILLO. Because like I said, it was exciting with the comeback of Abel. So, Renan by hook or crook, controversial decision, defeats Uriah Faber again for the interim championship with a questionable TKO victory. So, I hate to say this, rematch. You know, I know they faced off twice, but this is kind of a screwy decision. Kind of a screwy ending with the way Herb Dean called the fight, called it too soon. He ended it too early in many people's eyes. I see it that way. I think he made the wrong call. They mentioned him. I think he should just stand him up and let the fight continue. Because that's what I think people thought. And I thought that Herb was doing, that he was standing him up, but he ended the fight. It was kind of a controversial call there. So like went on below. The fans were at favorite. 2.0. Like every fight was 2.0. Because the first fight was just so good and just great excitement. The rest of the fight didn't live up to that first fight's excitement. You know? And we got another UFC pay-per-view in 3 weeks. It's, of course, Ronda Rousey taking on, forgot who she's facing in UFC 170. She's facing off against Sarah McMahon. I already know what the ending is going to be. And all ball. I love Ronda Rousey, but matches are so predictable because we know how she's going to win. Like, usually it's a 1-round on ball, but in the last fight against Miesha Tate at UFC 168, it was a 2nd or 3rd round on ball. But doesn't matter what round she does it, Ronda Rousey wins with an arm bar. Unless Sarah McMahon comes at her, Rousey's going to retain. That's my opinion for the next pay-per-view. Then we got Rashad Evans against Daniel Cormier. That should be very interesting unless it's a fight not to lose fight again. Like Aldo and Lamas. So we'll see how the next card faces, you know. Because last week's UFC card on Fox was kind of like lackluster. You know, besides that one great moment from Donald Cerrone, especially that uneventful main event. The prelims were better last week. I didn't see prelims tonight, though. But anyway, let's hope 170 is better. So 169 was just okay. One great fight. The rest was just lackluster at best. Once again, my review, 5.0 out of 10 for this pay-per-view tonight. That is it for my UFC pay-per-view 169 review for this evening. Thank you all very much for watching. With that in mind, you've all been attacked by the review. I'm Zach. Thank you all very much. Have a great day today. Super Bowl Sunday. Go Broncos and the MVP, Peyton fucking Manning. So see you later, everybody. Go Broncos. Yeah.